What's this knob do?
Free will is the idea that we make our own choices without being controlled by outside forces. But are we really in control, or are our brains and environments making the decisions for us before we even realize it? This question impacts how we view responsibility, behavior, and personal choice. This and more coming up on Rise and Trending. First up first, I want you to ask yourself a question about a recent decision you made, or let's say what you ate for breakfast. Did you choose that, or was the choice influenced by a habit, or maybe you saw an advertisement yesterday, or maybe you just heard somebody say something about a particular type of diet and then you decided to check it out? Are we really in control? Are we truly in control of the decisions that we make each and every single day? So the first thing that we want to look at is the philosophical perspective of this conversation. So some people believe that everything is already determined by past events, which we call as determinism. Like in many Amish communities, life decisions such as education or career paths are deeply influenced by religious tradition, family expectation, and community structure. So a young person might not decide to go to college because their path is determined by the values and customs of their upbringing, which discourage higher education in favor of manual labor and simple living. So in this case, their decision to avoid college would be seen as determined by past events like family expectations, religious beliefs, and societal norms. And then the second one is others might think we can still have free will even if certain things are already set, which is what we call as compatibilism. So in modern Indian families, many Indian families today balance traditional values with the opportunities offered by modernization. So in this case, a young Indian person might feel that their family's expectations and cultural background guide them toward certain career paths like becoming a doctor or engineer, but they still perceive themselves as having the freedom to decide whether to go to college and which field to pursue. So we would say that even if cultural or family expectations influence their decision, they still have they still have free will within themselves. And then the last group is where people believe we have total control over our actions, independent of past events. So this is an example of Western individualism, for example, in the United States or some parts in the West, So in many Western societies, particularly I would suggest the United States, there's an emphasis on individualism and the idea that people have control over their life choices. For example, a young person from a certain cultural background might believe they are fully in control of their decision, for example, to go to college regardless of their past or any family expectations. They might choose to go to college, study an unconventional subject, or even decide not to attend at all, believing that their decisions are completely self-determined, independent of past influences. And then we also look at this from a neuroscience perspective and the brain. So science shows that our brains might make decisions before we are even aware of them. For example, there is an experiment called the Libet experiment. I don't know if you've heard of it, but it suggests that our sense of choice might be an illusion. So at this particular point in time, we might actually be asking ourselves, like, are we like really in control? Like, for example, if you've ever made a snap decisions like grabbing a snack, where you go into a shop without thinking, and then you're just there, like, I do this most of the times. Like, I go in a shop, maybe I'm talking on the phone, and then I immediately know, I already know, I haven't even thought about it, but I just go on the counter and then I pick up what I want and then I leave. I go out. So, like, now I'm asking myself, was it like really a free choice? Or maybe was that decision made because my body is like on autopilot, or maybe like just driven by hunger, or maybe it's just a habit that I have. So like some decisions, sometimes we make decision not because we are thinking about it, but because of a certain habit that we have within ourselves. And then the last one is the psychological influence of it all when we are making decisions. So our choices can be influenced by biases like preferring information that supports what we already think, which is confirmation bias. Our environment, upbringing, and culture also shape the decision we make without us realizing it. A practical example is this. Consider a person choosing to buy a car. Like, they might think it's because they like a particular brand, but biases like advertising or seeing friends with that car may have played a major role in shaping that preference. And yeah, like most of the times, like I've thought within myself that, okay, I want a car. Oh, I love that car. Oh, I want to buy that car. And those decisions they're actually made not because I want to buy that car, but because I feel like the person who's driving that car looks good in that car. And many of these things happen, like even like when we look at it from a music perspective, you find that musicians, or maybe there's record labels or film industries, I would give an example, like they would put certain types of things in the videos so that they can be able to capture people in a certain way, and then we are made to think in that way. So the question still stands, do we really have free will? Even small decisions like what we eat or wear might not be as free as we think. Many decisions are influenced by habits, odds, and social pressures. For example, a career, you might feel like your decision, but it could have been shaped by family's expectations or social norms. When deciding what movie to watch at night, you may think you are making a free choice, but algorithms on streaming platforms push certain movies based on your previous watching habits, which could heavily influence your decision. So, if free will is an illusion, this could change how we view personal responsibility, morality, and justice. Should we hold people fully accountable for actions that might be influenced by things beyond their control, like genetics or upbringing? I want you to think about the justice system. If free will is limited, should we rethink how we punish people for crimes? Maybe rehabilitation should be the focus if their actions were driven by uncontrollable factors like upbringing or mental health. So while we may feel like we are making free choices, it's possible that many of our decisions are shaped by hidden factors. So I want you to think about your recent choices, reflect on them, and then ask yourself whether you were truly in control. Think about that decision you made. Was it really free will, or maybe a lot of factors were involved in order for you to come to that decision? This has been Rise and Trending, and I just want to thank everyone who tuned in, listened, and also just asking if you can leave a like, you can share, and also just some feedback on the comment section. That would really make a lot of sense, and I would really love to hear from you. I do post daily, so you have got something to listen to every morning, something to make you think about something. Yeah, so I will catch you again soon. Thank you.
What's this knob do?